and the 4th this week.
Governor Hochul's state budget proposal includes a $1.5 billion investment in CUNY and SUNY. The governor outlining her budget plan earlier this past week. This morning, we're taking a closer look at that proposed funding for CUNY.
Yeah, Hochul's executive budget will spend about $300 million a year in CUNY and SUNY operations each year over the next 5 years. It also includes about $150 million to expand TAP, the tuition assistance program, right now mostly unavailable for students studying part-time, and $53 million that will help CUNY hire hundreds of new full-time faculty.
Joining us now to talk more about it, CUNY Chancellor Félix Matos Rodríguez. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. First, your overall impression with the investment in CUNY in the budget. How would you characterize it?
Oh, we're very, very thankful to the governor and her team for this budget proposal. Support for our students, like you mentioned, in TAP, particularly for part-time students who tend to be parents or poorer students. So that's a huge investment in their success. Additional full-time faculty who are going to be there to mentor our students, to support them. Additional dollars in capital, which is great to refurbish our buildings, the ventilation systems, which I know are really key in this time of the COVID-19. And those are also jobs for New Yorkers at a time when we're all working very hard to revitalize our economy. So very, very pleased with the budget request, and we look forward to getting maybe a little bit more as we talk to the folks in the Senate and the Assembly.
Well, so let's talk a little bit more about that, extending or expanding the TAP program, how important that is to, CUNY students. Of course, they come from the city, a lot of them, students of color from different backgrounds where they need that kind of assistance. How life-changing can that assistance be to a student at CUNY?
Well, absolutely, and I think the timing of the governor's expansion is perfect, because it is those students that we're seeing maybe not enrolling, the students that were affected by the pandemic, who have part-time jobs, who are working in sectors that were affected by the pandemic. Think about restaurants, think about hotels, where many of our students either work part-time or full-time. The part-time help would allow them not to feel that they have to jump immediately in, that they can take a couple of courses, take care of their families, keep their job. That flexibility is going to be key in getting better educated New Yorkers, but also making sure that they continue to be engaged and help to sort of rebuild in the economy. So it's a win-win for the students, a win-win for us, but it's also a win-win for the coming back of the New York City economy. Very timely, that additional part-time TAP support.
Chancellor, you mentioned that you hope to get a little bit more money, perhaps, once the legislature gets moving on this as well. Anywhere where you would have liked to see more of a commitment to CUNY, anything that this budget is lacking, in your opinion?
Well, I wouldn't say that the budget is lacking, because this has been, one of the best budgets that we have received in years, right? But we all, for example, acknowledge that there's additional mental health needs that we have in our campuses. It's something that we needed additional support even before the pandemic, and we all know that the pandemic has only increased the need of those services. So we hope that we can get some additional support there. Part of our role in the New York City economy is to be a research anchor. Many of our researchers were key in providing some of the things that we were able to use in fighting the pandemic. We would like to see some expansion of support on our research capacity. And so again, we'll be making that case to our friends in the Assembly and the Senate. But it's in addition to what we think to be a phenomenal starting point. And like I said, I think the governor hit some very, very key areas in additional capital, additional TAP dollars, additional investment in full-time faculty. So we hope to build on that.
Sir, real quickly, I have to ask you about COVID, of course. CUNY and SUNY students, as you know, now required to get the COVID booster shot if they are eligible. That's now in effect per the governor. Need to get that in order to be on campus. How is that impacting CUNY right now, do you think? Is it being received pretty well? What's the overall the idea there for you guys?
We've been very fortunate that our community is mostly vaccinated, right? So in that sense, it's an additional protection to individuals who already have done the first, they took Pfizer and Moderna, to be to be registered for in-person classes, you needed to be able to have the 2 vaccines. So now we're telling students that as you become eligible for the booster, to make sure that you get that booster, and it's all part of a whole series of measures so that we can have the safest campus environment possible.
And
vaccines. Yes?
Yeah, no, we just have about 30 seconds left. I just wanted to squeeze in one more question with you. Speaking of the safety, we had just been talking about before we came on the air with you how the surge in the Omicron variant kind of timed out pretty well because your return to the spring semester is late.
Yeah, our classes really begin the first week of February, so by then we hope that the slowdown of the surge continues and it's an added element of safety. But we were always, right, if things change, we will adapt to make sure that our campus and our community is safe. But again, we look forward to the spring. We broke our record of graduates last year in the middle of the pandemic, so we're optimistic, and we're part of the story of how New York City is going to get back and even stronger in the future, and CUNY is part of that story.
All right, well, CUNY Chancellor Félix Matos Rodríguez, best of luck to you, to all the faculty there, and of course all of the students on this new semester. We will get through this together, hopefully. Thank you again for your time.
Thanks.